I have found confirmation for the next major leg to the upside for Bitcoin, and I will show you the exact trigger that is causing the upswing that we are seeing right now, actually multiple. If you want to know what's going on here, then let's go, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in here on this first day. First of all, I told you first day will be a pump day, and this is exactly what we are seeing right now. So let's jump directly into the charts here. Without any further ado, the DXY, the dollar index, is coming down as expected. What did I tell you guys? I said we could come to like 100 points and then we get rejected and will continue to go lower here. This is exactly what we are seeing here today. So even though we're about to form a W pattern here potentially, I think that we are not going to complete that, and seeing here over the next coming days, most likely by mid next week, a move below 98 points, especially with the FOMC meeting happening. If I'm not mistaken, it's in a week from now. No, it's next week Friday if I'm not mistaken. So next week Friday, FOMC meeting where we are going to see if we get a rate cut or not. If we're going to get one, expect here an insane sharp drop to the downside and a massive pump in Bitcoin. So one of the reasons why we are currently going up and why I believe the next leg for Bitcoin is cooking right now is based on the MDX algo scalp gradients. So first of all, when I go here into decolorization, so we came here into a low soft green candle, now push back here with a blue one to the upside, but that's not the really important thing. The important thing is that we have here a reversal plot, and also on the reactor indicator we had two dot plots marking a reversal from that level here of $106,600 back to the upside, now trying to reclaim the weekly open at around $109,000 approximately. So once we have reclaimed that, expect a massive push here into higher levels. When we're going then to the 1 hourly chart, first of all, I want to point out that we have here a falling wedge pattern that has broken out, and that was the exact reason why I set up here this small scalp trade that we are trading with only like 1% to the upside. So you need to use high leverage to actually make money on that, like 25x at least, or 20x at least, to make a decent money. But we are halfway through that. So if you use, for example, 25x, you're over 12% already up on that trade, and should set your stop loss to your entry, just to make sure that if it turns against you, get that you don't lose any money here. So the next major target, once we are breaking above $109,000, would be $109,500, where we close that small scalp trade, and then we wait and see if we start consolidating here and push straight higher, or if we come one more time down, dip down, small deviation, and then push here into the major resistance of the prior all-time high. If you want to trade trades like this with me together, guys, then don't forget Blowfin is a non-KYC exchange, and you get actually money for trading there, so you can trade and earn with the link in the pin com below and in the description below, and deposit at least $50. I grant you access to my alpha group where I shared coins, altcoins that are performing already, that I'm going to show you here in a little bit. So, but I gave it first to the group. Now you're going to see it on the channel. For some, it's still not too late to enter that, but you could have had them earlier and positioned yourself already accordingly. So definitely make sure that you're also part of that new alpha group. There is a link just below the Blowfin link, but you need a Blowfin account for that. So yeah, sign up and come in the alpha group. So here on the liquidation levels for Bitcoin, we see now an attempted push back above the 50 moving average here, and at the same time we're going to liquidate some high leveraged short liquidity that's sitting above us all the way up here to $111,400 approximately. If we reach that level, that will be also then the close of our current active trade here. That is also more or less halfway through already. So when you look at this, so this 2.5%, what we're currently more or less up on this trade. If we would push straight higher afterwards, then we have here the next trade set up into $160,000. I don't believe that we're going to see here a major rejection coming down to like $106,000 to take out the short the long liquidity that's sitting below us, which is definitely not insignificant. That's sitting here. You can see that on the thickness of these levels. See what we see here on the liquidation heat map. Yeah, also there, see all the way down. Okay, now it's like at $106,300 approximately, but the concentration of liquidity is sitting above us. All the short liquidity that's up here will give us a lot of fuel to push higher. But of course, in the first attempt, when we reach, let's say, $111,600, there we should get a small rejection before we get continuation into higher levels. So, but once we're tapping here $109,900, that should give us a short squeeze into $111,000. And then when we're going to the daily chart, nothing has really changed. We are still consolidating here in that resistance area of the all-time high, with the VPVR still giving us support here at this level. And you can technically draw in here something like a pennant or a symmetrical triangle, however you want to see that. So if I draw here a pennant on the daily chart, then this would look something like this. So once we're breaking out, so here you have another technical target, another trade setup that you can try of $119,400. And once we're breaking above, let it be $110,000. So that is a almost, I think it's like an 8 point something. Is that, yeah, a 9% move more or less to the upside here over the next couple of days potentially. Now, before I go into altcoins, guys, don't forget, I'm trading all my altcoins on Bybit. You still get up to $30,000 in bonuses if you sign up there, plus a Bybit debit card. I'm gonna show it to you here once again. Here, that is the Bybit debit card. I spent everything with that Bybit debit card. I have it also on Apple Pay. You can have it on Google Pay. And you also get a $500 free Airdrop position with the link in the pin comment below and in the description below. So go and check that out. Now, when we're looking at total free market cap for altcoins, we are still consolidating here, even though we have a green candle today. But don't be mistaken, tomorrow is something going to happen that could give us here a nice push, even all the way up to $1 trillion straight away. If all that money would actually enter the market. So, and that is the FTX repayment. So let me actually see here. I made a post about this earlier. So here, there you can see it. Tomorrow we are going to see all that money in stable coins being released, $16 billion. So okay, that would potentially not be enough to push us to $1 trillion market cap, but it could be a catalyst. To actually get us up there when we see that money flowing straight back into the market. The Bitcoin dominance also dropped finally completely off the rising wedge pattern. And now we are forming here something of, yeah, like a pinball candle, but I still expect here that worst case by Saturday we're gonna get a continuation to the downside, if not already tomorrow, potentially even already tomorrow. Like I said, FTX is releasing $16 billion. If that money flows straight back into the market, I expect that we're going to see a continuation, a sharp decline on the Bitcoin dominance. Then the Bitcoin Ethereum chart is one of the charts that we also definitely need to pay attention right now, because on the weekly chart we have reclaimed a multi-month, maybe even a multi-year, I have to look, a multi-year upward sloping support line. So if we close this week above that trend line here, this week we start pushing to the upside, expect altcoins completely to explode here, all the way up to this downward sloping trend line, to that dashed trend line here, which will give us resistance at around 0.038 Bitcoin for 1 Ethereum. So, but regardless, if we get here in the next couple of weeks, altcoins will have an amazing time going to the upside. So, and that's exactly what we are looking for. So I expect here in the next coming weeks something like that with a path where we get then up here to that resistance, then most likely we consolidate a little bit below that, then we push through and go much higher. And then at the same time at Ethereum, we have here a breakout from that symmetrical triangle. Everything is pointing to continuation to the upside, so this trade is active. You can still enter this. You would be still not too late to do so, but you have to assume that your stop loss will be then if you use the same stop loss, you have a bigger stop loss, so you have to assume that, and also then the risk to reward will shift dramatically. So just that you are aware of that. It would be still worth it, because we're talking about here, even now you would still make roughly 24% to the upside against a 10% stop loss, so not the worst, but you have to know if you want to do that. But I can tell you, Ethereum is definitely poised to go higher here with the MACD losing momentum on the sell side. the stochastic RSI flying, the RSI flying to the upside. So we should definitely see here some fireworks in the next couple of days with Ethereum. And we also see that here on the daily chart. So I want to show you first this. We have here that ascending triangle where we also just broke above it. And the technical target is here at the top of the golden ratio. So that's why I pulled up earlier the Fibonacci extensions to show you that there is confluence in that ascending triangle, that we should go all the way up here into the extended golden ratio to 1.618 at $3,081. So you can take from here a trade you want to on Ethereum from the current price level and trade this all the way up into the technical target of that ascending triangle with a stop loss at $2,613. Now, when we're looking at Solana, we are close to our entry here of the secondary trade. So if you want to enter Solana, also not the worst time to do that. On the 4-hourly chart, you might disagree and you potentially want to wait until we break here this downward sloping trend line, which is currently sitting at around $175. But if you switch to a daily chart, then this looks pretty similar to how Sui looked a couple of days ago, where the stochastic is completely flatlining, the RSI is going sideways, the MACD looks a little bit bearish, but when you zoom in here, there is not much needed to turn this around. So a small push and it would start flying to the upside. So also here, I think that will pump out of nowhere at any given moment. Maybe one more small downturn to like $170. But then I expect that this is definitely starting to fly here and crushes straight through $180 and will go much, much higher. One of the coins gave away in the alpha group was that near trade. So we have a complete near setup. We are slightly in profit on that trade because it is technically the same setup here. Because we broke above that downward sloping trend line on the daily chart. Again, everything looked heavily oversold, not different here on near. That looks like that we gonna get continuation by tomorrow or in the next 3 days. Hence why I entered this trade. And we are currently up, not a lot to be honest. Now it's more or less at entry again. Yeah, 1%, so we're roughly 1% up on that trade currently, but on the shorter time frames, I can tell you it looks like that we are going here, especially on the 15 minutes, we are losing selling momentum while we were consolidating. Prints a buy signal right now, RSI going sideways, so that looks like we are going to get really soon here higher prices for near in the next 2-3 hours. The next one is TRB. TRB is a coin I highly recommend you to not use more than 2 or 3x leverage on that coin. This coin is insanely volatile, but it pumped, I think, 100%. Regardless of that, if we can close above $63, today's daily candle, I expect that we're going to continue all the way up here to almost $100. We trade set up for you guys that you can take from $63 all the way up to $97. But I have here also take profit levels in between at $70, $81.29, and $97.18. You should always take a little bit profit along the way because you don't know when it's actually going to turn around. And you can see here on this candle, for example, this red candle here, it can be a volatile way to the downside. So you want to protect your capital on the way up here, either by every time raising your stop loss when we hit a take profit level, so let's say we hit this level here, your stop loss is your entry. We hit this level here, take profit 1 becomes your stop loss. We hit the last one, you either close the position or TP2 becomes a stop loss, so and then if we go higher, then you continue that, you always trail your stop loss further to the upside to make sure that you actually walk away with profit and not get left behind. So, but let's see how this is going to close here. Like I said, if we close above $63 today, I expect that we get here a quick move to $80 or potentially even higher than that. The next one is Sui. So Sui is finally making a move here on the 4-hourly chart. So here the next major resistance is basically where we're sitting at currently, the 0.382 level on the Fibonacci extension levels, and then just above that at $3.80, the downward sloping trend line of that parallel channel, where we had here a small deviation. It looks like that we are going to get a break here in the next couple of days, and once we're getting this break, I expect a reclaim of $4 quite quickly and a retest of that wick up here at around $4.21. So that should that should be happening here really soon, in less than a week in my opinion. And then Another coin that you should pay attention to is Uni. Uni also one of the coins here pumping like crazy over the last 2 days. Just to give you perspective, so from yesterday to today's high, Uni pumped 24%. So the Ethereum ecosystem is warming up right now, and you should pay attention to every coin that is built on the Ethereum layer or on a roll up, because these coins look like they're starting to perform, and also the layer ones. So here for Uni, the entry would be $7.06 around. The stop loss at $6.39, and with a take profit at $10.37, 47%. So why would I enter this? Because the stochastic can still go higher. The MACD just flipped bullish. The RSI also just turned bullish. We are in bullish territory, not oversold, overbought yet. So there is definitely more room to go to the upside. But what I also want to point out here is that we potentially can form here a cup and handle pattern. So you have here the cup, then here the handle. So we could come down to like $6.90, $6.70 even. You don't know from where we're going to form the cup, the handle could be also here all the way down to $6.50, and then we break from there to the upside. So, but this is something that I'm watching currently. It could also turn out to be a W pattern. So we don't know yet. But I think that this entry is solid because the stop loss, in my opinion, should not get triggered. So when, especially when I look here on the weekly chart, also here you see we're just about to get a buy signal. MACD, the RSI just entering bullish territory. So there's so much more upside once we are breaking $7.71, and it will be a quick one in my opinion. So it will be here like 3 candles like this here, going really quickly to the $9.61 level. And guys, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure that you become part of the Alpha group. I share a lot of trades there. Most of them are profitable. There is, like I said, a link in the description in the pinned comment below, just under the Blowfin link. You need a Blowfin account. And don't forget, smash with the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and I see you with more money tomorrow.